library in the cloud. This webinar is brought to you by GRAITEC. My name is Misty Scott, and I am pleased to be your moderator today. As a reminder, you can find a schedule of upcoming events, webinars, and training on our calendar at asti.com/calendar. All right, so before we dive in, we'd love to learn more about how we can best serve you and your business. If you could take a moment to answer the poll questions right on the right hand, oh, it's going to go the other way, on the right hand side of your screen. I think that's going the right way for y'all. But anyway, it takes just a second and it helps us learn a little bit about what can best serve you. All right, we'd also like to invite you to check out our custom training classes. You can scan the QR code on the screen, but I'm also going to put them in the chat and put them at the end during the Q&A. Without further ado, I'd like to introduce Philip Charlson. He's going to let you know a little bit about himself, but he is incredible. He's amazing. He is an implementation consultant at GRAITEC. And with that, I'm going to turn it over to you, Philip.
All right. Thank you, Misty. All right. So everybody, what we're going to do today is we're going to show you a new feature that you have available to, and it's called the content catalog. And you might not be aware of it yet, but it came out last year, fall, I guess, and I've had the opportunity to kind of implement it within a couple companies and been able to play around with the tool a little bit, but it's definitely a tool that everybody can utilize right away for a company. But first, just a little bit about myself. I've been with GRAITEC here for about just about 3 years now, but I've been on the reseller type side for quite a while, since 2001, and I've been using Revit products since early 2002, so a lot of experience, a lot of implementations and supporting of clients utilizing Revit and other Autodesk tools. My specialties are on the MEP and the architecture side, so helping out all those types of customers. I am a platinum certified instructor, and I'm also on my way to becoming an Autodesk evaluator for instructors. All right, so let's get into it. So first off, a little bit of the history of this content catalog. So Autodesk made the purchase of Unify, which was a company that you could purchase this catalog service that you could catalog your information either on a server or in the cloud with all the different types of content that you had for CAD. So not just for Revit, but also for AutoCAD, and not just for families, but different styles that you could possibly have and load into projects. So it was definitely a need for Autodesk to have a tool like this. Obviously, with so much going to the cloud these days, we needed to be able to have our content in the cloud and not continuously have to somehow connect back to your company server to access different files that you need for your project. So this way you're able to pop out to the cloud, access your library of content, and be able to bring that into the different projects that you work in. So awesome tool. Here's some of the key features of the content catalog. Just a single source of truth. So what that means is, having your entire library in that one location that everybody on the team can be able to go in and utilize, and not have scattered libraries throughout a server location. I've definitely seen that a lot of times with different companies, and gets a little scary as to, trying to control that. granular search, you know, you can go in and type a keyword and it will basically give you the list of all the items relating to that keyword. So you don't have to go search in different folders to locate a specific item that you want to go in and bring in. You got your thumbnail previews. So on the screen here, we're kind of seeing some smaller ones, but when you actually go in and click on it, you actually get a very large thumbnail preview. You're able to actually use the kind of a 3D rotate if you want to rotate the item around and take a better look at it as well. Version control, very, very nice tool. So if you are looking to utilize this right away and you want to go on and push your library into the cloud, what I'm suggesting is to take some of your older families and push them into the content catalog. The reason why is that when you push, let's say, a 2020 version of a family into the content catalog, what it will do in the cloud is it will take that version and it will automatically migrate it up to the most current version of Revit. So you'll have a 20 through a 2025 version of that same family. So instead of you loading a 2020 version of a family into a project, into let's say 24, you won't get that upgrade family. You know how it usually takes a few seconds for it to upload. It won't have that issue because it will already have that saved version for you. Content management is very easy. You can actually go on and create folders so you can put specific families, content in specific folders. If you're on the architecture side and you deal with different types of buildings, you may want to have different content for the different styles of buildings. If you're dealing with commercial, you're dealing with residential, you may want to have 2 different locations for your content so you can kind of move in those directions. Also, if you have people that are specific to types of projects, you can give them access to only the project types that they work with for those types of collections. And then just simply the flexible input, you know, being able to locate information. Again, you have the search option within here. You can also go to look in specific folders and kind of go back to the way that you looked at it if it was on a server location. I like to use the search though, because it just gives you that overall list. Doesn't matter what folder it's in, it's going to list it in there and make it a lot easier for you to locate that. All right. So moving on here. Let's do a little demonstration here. So what we're going to do is we're going to use just a out-of-the-box sample project. I'm in Revit 2025 here, and we're just using the Snowden Tower. So if you've looked at your sample files before, you've probably noticed this in the 24 and the 25 version. There's different files for the different disciplines to go in and work on within here. So let's take a look at the content catalog here. So you'll see that in 25, you'll have it in the Insert tab. In prior versions, there will actually be a tab at the top to get to the content catalog. So when you go in and click on it, we're looking at the app, the in-app version here first, and it brings up this dialog. So you could actually have this on a secondary machine and be working in a project at the same time. And you can see here we have different collections. If you're multi-discipline firm, you may want to go in and split those up. We can also go in and set how our search configuration is, and we can go in and adjust the sizes of our images that come up. We're just going to do a quick search here for casework. As you can see, it's looking for anything with the name casework in it or with the category of casework. Now in here, we're actually going to the different folders, and we can actually see that they're automatically categorized. So when you bring them into the content catalog, it automatically puts them in the correct folders for you. So it's kind of a nice option to be able to just drop them in and see where they reside. Here we're looking at a particular family, and we can actually look at all the properties of it before we even load it in. We can also select which year version that we want to be able to access. Here's the, you can see the base model was 22, so that was the original, and then it copies them forward and resaves them as a 23 through 25 version. You'll notice that it doesn't save back, same as any other Revit object. You can't save back within Revit, it can only be moved forward. We also have the option where we can download it, so if we may want to make some changes, modifications to a family, we can go in and modify it and re-upload it within here. We also have versioning of the different families. So when you resave over a different one, it will create a version of it. So it will save those different versions to be able to access. What we're looking at right now is the requests. So as a end user, not an admin, if you're working on a project and let's say you've downloaded a particular family from a manufacturer's site and you put it into your project, you may want to have that pushed into the content catalog. Now, as an end user, you can't just dump stuff into the content catalog. Usually you have admins for the content catalog that basically look over the content that gets plugged into the catalog. So in here, what we're looking at is approved items. So anything that has been requested from an end user, as an admin, I can then go in and take a look at the content, see if it needs to have any modifications. Maybe there's some parameters that are specific to the company that we like to put into it before we use it on other projects. So we're kind of the quality assurance of the content that gets placed into the content catalog. So that definitely is a good thing. You don't want just everybody dumping stuff into the content catalog. You really want to make sure that you're taking a look at that content before it kind of activates and gets plugged into it. Now here's a way that we can actually go in and upload the content. If you have an active project, we can actually select it and it will list all the different pieces of content that we can bring into the content catalog. So it's going to list all the different families that you have within your current project. Some of them, you may already have within the content catalog, but like I said, maybe you've downloaded some from other locations and you want to push some new content within here. Now, as we look through this list here, right now we're looking at air terminals, and we can go in and check off the ones that we don't want to bring into the content catalog. By going and click next, they'll basically bring these two into my content catalog. One thing I think they need to correct when doing that, it kind of flips back to the Revit interface. Now I'm choosing which folder that I want to apply it to, and that's going to be the MEP collections. And then finally I click upload, and now it is pushing that information. Now it's available in the content catalog. Now another nice thing about uploading information that you've never been able to do in the past is you can actually upload system families. Now in all the trainings that I've ever taught, I've said, system families, they reside in the project. You can't export them. I can't say that anymore. We can now export them into the content catalog, and it will allow us to load those styles into a new project. We also have other items that we can upload within there that we haven't been able to in the past, like filled regions. If you've created kind of a specific filled region for a project, and it's like, oh, I want this in my other one. Typically, you'd have to push that in, transfer the project standards from one project to another project. You'd have to have one open, and it brings in all of those. In this case, we can just grab a couple that we might have created within a project and put them in our content catalog, and we can load those specific ones into a new project. And we don't have to just kind of dump a whole bunch of stuff that we don't use within there. So we're kind of going back here to the folder look again here, and we're looking at the air terminals. We can see the little preview image that pops up here. We can go in and add tags within an object here as well. So easier way to search for items. So you could potentially put project names, numbers in there if you want to kind of have it relate to that. Here we're showing you some of the preferences that you have. If you want the members to create their own tags, if they want to be able to add or delete tags from content, enable the Revit preview image generation. So this is some of the admin controls that we have within here. We have some search preferences that we can turn on, turn off within here as well. Right. Here we can go in and manage tags. So if we want to kind of pre-create some tags that we can just automatically tag some items with tags that we already have created, we can go in and do that. It's kind of a nice feature to add for detail components. That's where I've used them at. So you can see there's an area there for tags specifically. Up at the very top, you can see that there are different locations. If you deal with different companies, they may give you access to different their own libraries. So it's a way for companies to share their libraries. Up at the very top there, you can see we got the ASCII ETG. I can click on that and be able to choose a different company and take a look at their families that they use. So if you are working on a project with another firm, same type of tools, we have that available there too. All right, so let's move on here. All right, so what I did originally here was we did go into the content catalog with the app, but we also have a browser option. The browser option allows us to be able to open it up in a separate, obviously, app and not directly within Revit. This is where I've typically gone in and added a lot of content. I don't tend to do it within the app. I just kind of like to have it separated a little bit. If you are bringing in a lot of content, if you're kind of doing a lot of file dumping, the browser option is probably the best way to go. So as you can see within here, this is just the Microsoft Edge browser. I'm sure other browsers will work as well. So right now, again, it is just doing a quick sync here. We got, again, the Snowden Tower sample file. We have basically the same type of tools, same type of setup within here, except, again, now we're just looking at it in a browser instance instead of within the Revit and having the app work within here. As you can see here with the upload content option, you can open up File Explorer. If you go to your content library, and you can just simply highlight a number of families and just simply drop and drag them right to the screen here. I tend to maybe put in 20 to 25 pieces at a time because it's going to basically process that information. Let's get back up to it here. So looking over the content, the upload content here. And like I said, this is something that you could have on your secondary screen here. One thing that I'm doing right now is I'm actually bringing in a different type of file. So it doesn't have to be a Revit-based file. As you can see here, I'm bringing in a JPEG file. So you can bring in multiple image files. You can bring in Excel files, Word files. If you've got a CAD manual, BIM manual, you can go in and push that up to the content catalog. So you can basically store just about everything in your content catalog. So now with this one here, a JPEG, if I needed to bring that, put it into a project, we could get that placed within there. So now we're going to just the out-of-the-box library. And you'll notice here I'm going to my Revit 2020. As I mentioned, if you are bringing in families, you want to try to bring in older content. That way, if you're working in a 23, a 24, or 25 project, that family file will have all of those versions created. If you bring a 25 family in, you'll only be able to use it in a Revit 25 project. So right here, I just brought in 4 families, all lavatories. I'm going to upload those. And now they've been added to the library. So you can kind of see that the options for both the in-app version and the browser version very similar to each other. So again, it's more of a user preference as to how they want to go in and be able to use these. So once you push them into the cloud, you'll see the processing. So it usually takes a couple minutes here for them to process all the different versions from the original base that you went in and created. All right, so moving on. So why is the content catalog available now? All right, so if you have looked in the past or maybe watched previous webinars from Autodesk, they often mention a Revit roadmap. So basically is telling the users, hey, this is what we're looking at doing in the future for Revit. So you might see some of those webinars, and this was part of their roadmap. So they've basically taken this tool. They purchased it roughly about a year and a half ago now. Took about a year for it to eventually release, kind of make it an Autodesk type looking product to push out there and for users to be able to use. Obviously, they wanted users to have better access to data. Again, with most items, most projects being worked in the cloud these days, a lot of people are working from their homes. They don't want to have to log in somehow to get access to the server location at work and download the information. It takes a bit longer. Also, just being able to search for content a lot easier within the content catalog is so much better. And obviously integrating it into Docs. So if you have really an Autodesk product that utilizes Docs, you can utilize the content catalog today. So you don't necessarily have to be working in projects in the cloud to be using the content catalog, but you can have your content catalog in the cloud. And likewise, you don't have to be using the content catalog when you're away from work. When you're at work, you can be using the content catalog. So you can always be accessing this content within here. If families get updated, obviously you can see those revisions that are happening within there. You can roll back if you need to. And also, even though we haven't seen it yet, but when Revit 26 comes out, I'm going to assume that all the content that you pushed up there will automatically, again, migrate to a Revit 2026 version. So kind of waiting for that to happen. So I can't speak for that yet, but I'm going to assume that it's going to kind of automatically migrate to that. All right, so the next question is, how can I access the content catalog? All right, well, first off, your Autodesk Construction Cloud admin needs to activate the content catalog for a company. So not any user can just, hey, I'm going to use the content catalog. Nope, we do have to have an admin for your Construction Cloud activate the content catalog for the company. Also, users need to have an active subscription to an Autodesk product that includes the docs. Users or the company admins can access the download from the Autodesk website. So when you log in, you just simply do a search for content catalog. This will be the only thing that pops up to be able to access. There have been a couple updates since it released back in August, September, and it seems to be working a bit better. There were a few bugs in the original state of it, but if you go in and download it now, it will have all the updates to that. Installs of the product need to be installed on all users' machines that have any version between 22 and 25. So when you install it, it will install it for 22, 23, 24, 25. If you have all four of those versions, you will see it in there. If you recall, I mentioned earlier, between 22 and 24, there will be a separate tab at the top in your ribbon for the content catalog. In 2025, they added the content catalog in the Insert tab. All right. So quick look at how to get access to it. A few of the steps here. So doing just another demonstration of this. So let's take a look at how we can get this installed. So go into my account here, and we're going to the product updates. And we'll get into the Autodesk site here. And once you pop in here, you can just go to the search. And like I said, you can just type in content catalog. You can see that I can just start typing it. And that is the only thing that's going to list. You can see it's a very small file, so just about 18 megabytes. You may have to reach out to your admin if you have some restrictions on installing anything new. They may have to install it on their side. And push that out to, again, all the users there. Now, for the admins, the account admins, you can go down to your library in the Construction Cloud, and you can click on the content catalog. So this is your admin control within here. So this isn't something that all users can get into. This is where you can go in and create the different collection names. So as an end user, you may have access to different folders that have different content. As an admin, you're the ones that will go in and create the different types of folders. You'll notice here that I basically split them out by discipline. So this is obviously be a good one for a multi-discipline firm. If we get it down to specifics, again, I'm more of the MEP person. I'm going to create one for mechanical. I'm going to create one for electrical. Could potentially create another one for plumbing if you want to split it up three ways. But typically, mechanical, electrical, they don't need each other's families. So I want to give mechanical the information that they need and give electrical the information that they need. All right, so very easy to go in and create a new folder within here. If you wanted to add any channels, that could be out of the box information, so you can have it automatically populate that. I have heard that Autodesk plans to possibly create some additional channels for some additional content in the future. It has not come yet though. Here we can go in and create user groups. So this is where you go in and add your users. So for an admin, you are kind of the default account admin. So you have to have at least the account admin access. The others are going to be where you want to group people under so that you can assign them the different collections that you have. So in here, I would create an architecture group. So for all the architecture designers in Revit, I'm giving them access to that. For the MEP group, I'm giving them access to that. And then structure, I'm adding them to that. So we can go in and click on these, click on edit, and this is where we can go in and add the users to this. Now, as far as the users within here, they do have to be members in the Autodesk Construction Cloud before you can add them into the user groups within here. So make sure that you've added them as members within there. So you may have to, I know on MEP and structure side, since you typically don't start projects, you don't have to always add the members within there. But in this case, in order for them to be able to use this, they have to be added into the member list within here. Then you can go in and add them as in the user groups here. All right. So I need help with my content catalog. What's going on? This, you may want to jot this down if you want to look at some facts type information, anything related to the content catalog, anything new. You're going to find new features added within here. Anything that you need some assistance with, go to this location. If you're obviously one of our customers, clients, if you want to be one of our clients, you can reach out to us as well, and we can help you with your content catalog. But you'll kind of find out when you are setting up your content catalog, it's a good way to kind of look at what you currently have for content. When you do start pushing your content that you already have into the content catalog, you might start to notice, hey, why is it being categorized as a generic model? I thought that was mechanical equipment. Well, when it pushes that information, it's only taking the information that it was given, and if it was assigned generic model, it's going to put it within that category. Now that gives you the opportunity then to go in and kind of correct some of that information. So if you determine, hey, why is that air handler in my generic model? Okay, I'm going to go in and modify that family, make sure it's set to the right category. I'm going to re-upload it. It's going to take it from that generic model and put it in the mechanical equipment category. So we're kind of correcting those mistakes that we never really knew that we had with this content catalog. So, questions that you may have on the content catalog? Just gonna take a look here.
Hey, Philip, I had a second trying to get back into the stream here, but yeah, Mason had a question. He said, if an original Revit family is in Revit 2020 and you want to make edits to the family, do you need to make the edits in Revit 2020? Or what will happen to the older versions if you make edits in a newer version?
Okay, so what I have been doing is if you have pushed a 2020 Revit family into the content catalog and you need to make modification to it, yes, you should open it up in 2020 to make modifications and then push it back if you need to have it in a 2020 version. Now, if you have moved forward where it's like, oh, I'm only working in 23, 24 at this point, if you go in and modify it in 23 and then push it up, it will then create now a 23, 24, and 25. It will still keep your earlier versions in a different revision. So it really depends upon if you still need it as a 2020 or if you've kind of moved forward and are able to use a newer version. I've noticed, obviously, with MEP and structure, they kind of lean on whatever the architect sends them. So sometimes you're kind of restricted to like, oh, I have to continue to use the older 2020 version and, keep going forward until, that architect that you've been using finally moves off of Revit 2020 and moves forward. You continue to have to hold on to that content. So again, it's really based on your situation there.
Awesome. And just so everyone knows who's watching on demand and attending now, I did put the link that Philip put on the screen for you guys in the chat, so you can click on that. And if you'd like the white glove support from GRAITEC, I also put our support link on there, so you can get connected with us, and we'll hook you up with the experts here, maybe even Philip himself.
Yep.
So either one of those, we got you covered. That's what we're here for. All right, we've got another question here. 2 questions. I love
Revit
it.
Keynotes database, Revit materials, Revit material libraries. Yes, you can basically push up just about anything to this content catalog. That's why it's so awesome. Because with your regular Revit library, you just have Revit stuff. You can, just put anything within there. Like I said, Excel, Word documents. I haven't put a PowerPoint up there, but I don't know why put a PowerPoint. PDFs, another thing that might be an option there. Can Dynamo pull content from the content catalog? That I do not know. As far as I'm aware, it is just going to be able to pull in physical files. I don't know if you can actually create a Dynamo script that could pull something from the content catalog, but who knows with Autodesk, it may be in the works.
Fantastic. These are great questions here. And Mason, by the way, I'll take your email. I'll send it out to the GRAITEC sphere of great minds. And if there is one, we'll let you know for sure. All right, let's see. Looks like we've got most of the questions here. I also put, as promised at the beginning, a link to our training and services. So you can click like right there on your screen. It'll take you right there. And this question is always asked, so I like to let everyone know you will receive a recording of this within 24 to 48 hours max. If you don't get that recording, you can reach out to me. I'm going to put the email in the chat. It's webinars@graitec.com. And I will know that you are on a webinar and we'll get you hooked up with that. Also, if you think of any questions, maybe you're watching this on demand or you're like, oh, I should have asked this question. You can also submit your questions there. We'll get you hooked up with the right person with the right answers.
Yep.
All right, so
reach out to me.
I'm here for you. So Philip, any final thoughts as we wrap up the webinar? Anything that you want to say?
Nope. I've just been really excited for this. I mean, it's a free tool. I mean, how can you beat free?
Absolutely.
This is something that people have paid for a number of years with Unify and with Autodesk purchasing it and giving this to you. I mean, it's really a no-brainer to be utilizing this right away for all of your Revit projects.
Fantastic. I love it. And in one of the poll questions, it asks if you guys would want to connect with us. We can help look through and advise you on what's free that you're not using, what you could use, what you should use. So you can answer that question by saying yes, and we'll reach out to you. But I want to thank everybody for joining us today. I hope it was meaningful and impactful for you and your businesses. Philip, thank you so much for presenting with us today. We do look forward to seeing you all on future webinars. Have a wonderful rest of the day.
Thank you, everyone.